Hi folks, Thomas Henson here with thomashenson.com, and today is another episode of Big Data, Big Questions. And so today's question is going to revolve around how to get an internship in big data. So you want to be a big data engineer, how can you get an internship, and then kind of what are some basic knowledges you should have before maybe going into that internship. So find out more right after this. So today we're going to tackle the question around getting a data engineer internship. So how can you get a data engineer internship? And the question actually comes in from YouTube. So I had a question. Just remember, if you have any questions that you want me to answer, put them in the comment section below here. Go to my website, thomashenson.com/big questions, and I'll answer those questions for you. Just even use the hashtag Twitter use the hashtag on Twitter, big questions. Big Data, Big Questions, and I'll pull those comments out and I'll try to answer them on here the best I can. So today's question comes in from Sid Patel. So please make a video on how much time is required to be a big data engineer. Is it possible in 3 months? And also try to mention the minimum skills required for an internship. So we'll tackle that question a couple different ways. First, I did want to say I've got a resource out there on a roadmap for data engineers, and so that's going to cover the whole career. I know we're talking about internships here, but if you want to know what I think are the four pillars, the four important points and areas that you can focus on in data engineering, check out that video. It's got a lot of information and some links for it too. So you're asking about internships, and so let's just think about it and break it out a little bit. So an internship, you're really, sometimes you're getting paid, sometimes you're not being paid, but they're required by your classwork. So really the barrier for entry for those is going to be pretty small. So really the majority of your time is going to be spent looking for those internships. So if your university is not paying for it or you're just trying to find one on your own, then that's something that you're going to have to research and you're going to have to go out and find for yourself. And maybe I'll do a video in the future about some career hacking for data engineers and how to make sure that we're applying for the right positions, and then also where to find out these jobs and how to connect with those people before they even look at your application. So that's a future thing that we'll talk about. But as far as the minimum skills required, I think there are some basic skills that you have, but I think you don't really have to worry about too much saying, hey, I need to be an expert, or I need to have, this piece and that other piece. But there are some things that I think you should, and that'll help you be a better candidate for an internship. So one of the things is just basic knowledge. I think you should have basic knowledge of the Hadoop platform, Spark, and some of the major components there. And when I say basic knowledge, I mean even just knowing the definitions, right? So knowing what component, what framework works in what use case. And so I think having that basic knowledge, one of the ways to get that basic knowledge, if you don't already have it, is to go to Hortonworks or go to Cloudera and download the sandboxes. So download the sandboxes, kind of work through just running it in your own virtual environment, or using a cloud provider with Azure or AWS, running the sandbox in those environments. You can kind of go through just starting and stopping and moving data around in that sandbox environment. So that'll give you a basic knowledge that I think give you the opportunity to be able to talk about it whenever you're applying or maybe you're interviewing for that internship. Also, I think another thing that you should do is you should know where the documentation is. So most of these projects, I would say 95 to 98% of the projects are all open source. And so all that, probably is going to be found under Apache depending on the product. So I think you should go through each one of those big components. So go through Hadoop, HDFS, Spark, Pig, Hive, HBase, some of the other major components. Just go through the documentation. And I'm not saying that you go through documentation, you make a ton of notes, and you prepare for it like an exam. But I want you to know where the documentation is. I want you to have gone through it so that you can navigate it. So maybe if there is some kind of test or some kind of filtering that the company's going to do for this internship, you know where that information is, and you can kind of help and go through that and have someone knowledgeable. Once again, don't need to be an expert. We're talking about an internship. I think you can do all that in 3 months? For sure, I think you can understand all that in 3 months. Another thing that I think, last point, that I believe will really let you stand apart is understand the business value. So we talk about it. I did a video breaking down Bill Schmarzow's book, The Big Data MBA, and I believe that as data engineers, I think everybody should understand the business value. So why are we doing the things that we're doing? It's fun to be involved in these projects and to play with the technology, but the whole reason that we're playing with this technology and being able to have these careers is because they're obtaining some kind of business objective. Now, whether, even if you're working in the public sector, there's still some kind of business objective that we're obtaining. So we're trying to solve some kind of problem. So being able to understand that is really going to set you apart. And then also, 5-10 years from now, that's really going to accelerate your career, I believe, because then you understand how the technology works, but you also understand the business aspects of it, and then that puts you in front of your leadership, your boss, your team, your customer, explaining those problems too. So that's just another little key tip. So have some basic knowledge. So go download that sandbox. Make sure that you understand where the documentation is, kind of go through it. Once again, don't be an expert in it. And then understand the business value. So look at some of the business use cases that we see out there. I think that's all achievable. I think you can do it in less than 3 months. Like I said, the hardest part is going to be, if you're having to find those internships on your own. We'll cover that in another video. But Sid Patel, I think that you'll have no problem in less than 3 months having all those basic things covered. Make sure you subscribe, everyone, so that you never miss an episode. If you have any questions, make sure you ask those in the comment section below. Put it out on Twitter. Put it out on my website. I'll answer the questions. And until then, see you next time.